Καλησπέρα και πάλι. Συγγνώμη που πέρασε μόνο ένα τέταρτο που τελειώσαμε την προηγούμενη εκδήλωση, έτσι είναι. Ήταν πολύ ενδιαφέρουσα όλη η μέρα και σήμερα τελειώνουμε, κλείνουμε τις εκδηλώσεις της ΦΕΑΟΣ ουσίας με το Διονύση Σαμιώτη, μια special συνάντηση που θα έχουμε μαζί του, με ένα τίτλο ίσως μπανάλ, επάγγελμα παραγωγός, αλλά δεν είναι όποιος παραγωγός, εντάξει. Επειδή έχουμε και τον Μπεν Απολώνη από την Πριστίνα, έχουμε και τον Πίτερ Ταλεύσκι, έχουμε και την άλλη συνάδελφο από τη Βόρεια Μακεδονία, θα μιλήσουμε στα αγγλικά. Εντάξει, Διονύση, δεν υπάρχει πρόβλημα, κανένα. Πολύ ωραία. Λοιπόν, so, we are going to... Και ο Άριελ και η σύζυγός του, βέβαια.
We have to talk business with Ariel. So.
Of course. He would like to play a first role in new comedy. Surrealism. Okay, so I will be very brief. So we are very glad to have Dionysis Samiotis this year. We had discussed last year to invite him, but it was not possible last year. So, okay, this year he decided to join us, and I hope we are going to have a nice conversation, polite conversation about what's a producer in Greece.
In Greece?
That's the first question. Yeah.
What's
producer TV,
what's
producer
the
movie,
difference
and
in other
anyway,
countries?
We are going to say that.
I thought it's the same, no?
Well,
No,
we are going to explain
Maybe
us.
you know better. For me, it's the same. In any country, in any territory, it's the same. The producer is a producer. And I find myself in a difficulty to explain even my son what a producer is, since now he's 24. Since he was a kid, say, what exactly are you doing? And I was telling him, we were going to the places that they were selling all the fruits, the tomatoes, the vegetables, everything. And I'd say, you see this person, he's a producer. He's just producing vegetables, I produce movies and series. But in a sense, we are the same. We need the raw material, both of us, we need the raw material. There is human resources, skilled people that they know our job and our process. We set up a method. We find the finance to finance the whole operation in order to produce a unique product. The difference is that we set up the whole thing just to produce one product. We cannot go back and produce another one the same or better. So you have to be careful, to choose carefully your raw materials, your skilled people, because you only have one chance. If you do a mistake in any of the phases, then you are in trouble. You need all the money again to restart and redo the process, which never happens. And everything that you're producing is unique, because we are producing products of mind. We are producing intellectual products, which means this is a raw material. We ask people to think, we ask people to write, we ask people to work together, we ask people to play with their minds, we ask people to be in the shoes of the final audience, to judge if it's something good for them, that they would like it or not. And we ask everyone to be on the same philosophy, that the whole team is producing the same thing. And they have the idea of producing the same thing. Because sometimes misunderstandings are happening, and this is the worst thing that can happen to a producer, not sharing the same philosophy. So all the conflicts between writers, directors, producers, they come up because the producer didn't take care of the whole team to sit down and discuss, even fight, which is a good thing, and exchange views in order to finally agree on, okay, this is what we're doing. And there are two types. When there's a conflict, someone needs to give a resolution. In the art house projects that we are also producing, but we give space and we understand that the director or writer-director who brings and owns the art house project, they have to lead the race. And at the end of the day, they have to decide. And there are the big commercial projects that it's producers' projects. And at the end of the day, the producer has resumed responsibility and take the final decision. So more or less, we deal with people. So we are part of the human sciences. The difficult part is that we have to combine people, art forms, and money. And all these we have to put them in business models to try, according to what we have in hand, to try to do the best out of what we have. And at the end of the day, in my view, the very difficult task is to be able to make the product to meet its audience, whatever that is. Sometimes it's niche, sometimes it's wide, but the key thing is always to be able to make your product to meet the audience that you designed it for.
So you are also like a chief of orchestra, no? Or not?
Yeah, in a sense, but yes and no, because actually the director of the orchestra is the director of the movie during the shooting.
Okay.
Because it's up to him to do it. We have a wider role. We need to find not only the violin that is playing, but if the violin is going to be placed in a way that the first violin will feel comfortable in order to perform the best. So there's a lot of details, or that the sound is going to be handled properly, and that the sound engineer is going to give exactly the ambience that the director of the orchestra wants, and the musicians are happy. So it's more wide than just to direct that.
Do you select the projects? We imagine you have dozens of projects that are submitted to your Tanweer Production house.
We have a team. This is the number one importance in the list of things that you have to do. We have a good team. When you open our site, the first thing you will see, it says we are obsessed with stories. Mm-hmm. This is our motto, this is our drive. We hear someone pitching a great story, we are jumping and say, okay, tell me more. Then there are a lot of details, but we need to get excited. We need to stand up from our chairs and say, okay, I want to hear this story. So give me more about it. How about this character in this story? Is there any other side of this story? This is our main thing. Then we have a task ourselves to judge: is it a movie? Is it a series? Is it a mini-series? Is it long running? Depends. Do we want to say this story in which form? And then, of course, there's the development stage, which has two phases. The early development stage, that we're trying to put the story in a form, even if it is treatment, sometimes short storyline synopsis, character development, and maybe the first draft, depending on how we feel and how ready the writer feels that is ready to jump into writing the first script immediately after that. Otherwise, there are interim stages. And then there's the late stage development, where we are trying to create an artistic package. We involve a director, we involve cast, we involve key positions sometimes that are crucial, depending, like, let's say, if the DOP, if the photography and the aesthetics that we expect from the specific projects are high, so we need to book someone in advance, so we involve them, or their input is important, if it has VFX, for example, etc. So we tend to involve more talent in the artistic packaging. And then there's the financing packaging, which involves the financial engineering of each project. that is different in every project, and not all the money are the same, have the same meaning, they're influencing or affecting the project in the same way. Sometimes we are getting offers that we say no, because we know that if we get an offer with money, we may lose something else, or it may affect or lead the whole project in a direction that it's not what we discussed. It's not in the philosophy that we all agreed in. And it's not working if a producer tries to impose to the team that, no, you have to work now this way because we found the money. Or because I found a co-producer, rewrite the script so we can put an element to make it a co-production, etc. It doesn't always work. If it makes sense, yes. Or product placement. Sometimes makes sense, sometimes no.
So, did you have any personal, since you began your career, personal projects that you pushed much more than the other projects? Did you have any personal projects of producer to produce a series or something, or a movie, besides the projects that some people submit to you?
I don't know. Listen, my drive is always that I felt part of the cinema industry because my whole family was.
Yeah.
Actually, my father produced his first movie right here, in the next village from here, 1969. Anaparastasis by Angelopoulos. And then after that I was working in cinema. My uncles, my cousins, everybody. In the family lunch, Sunday lunch, it was all about movies. That was the discussion. So honestly, I didn't know what else. Because of my mother, I studied law. Because she said, come on, these guys, when they're doing movies, they are not making money. It's not the real business. So I said, okay, Mom, I'll do it. I did copyright law in London. Then I worked for 5 years. And then I said, okay, Mom, I've done it your way. Now let's see if the other way can work. And we were very lucky because in the 90s, the European Union was doing all these amazing conferences. So I wanted to do finance. I did the film business school. And I was very lucky. I had the producer of Pulp Fiction as a tutor at that stage, who was actually seeing my project's financing plan and say, what is that? Does it exist? Don't you go to a financier or a studio or to get the money? I got the different mentality already. And we've done marketing, we've done finance, script analysis, amazing years of the European Union. I think a lot of them exist now, but I don't know why people are not very much willing now to use them. I urge all the young people, or even not only the young, but everyone who's involved in this industry to go and have the experience of all the other sides of its business. It's a never-ending learning process. Like now I had to go and learn a little bit about VFX because it's a new thing that whenever you do green shots, etc., to know what your people are talking about. To come back to personal, of course, when you start producing, you have the things that you have in mind. I read a lot of books. I wanted to do, I like to adapt, which is the right word, from books to movies or series. I like the idea of taking a world that exists in literature and the images of everyone who's reading it and turn them to something different. I like this challenge. I was lucky to say that I produced my first movie in 1996. It was released in 1997, Balkanizater.
Yes.
It was actually a Balkan story. It's two friends. They in Thessaloniki. They are in Edessa actually. They think that they're gonna make money if they exchange dollars to Bulgarian leva, and then they go to Switzerland to exchange leva to dollars again, because a guy in Germany told them a story. You know, the people that they are going to Germany and they're not really succeeding, then they come back and they tell stories, how they make money, how they know the tricks, etc. So they believed him. So they're trying to do their scheme. So it's a kind of a buddy movie, a road movie through the Balkans and then to Switzerland. So you see the cultural difference of how the Bulgarian people were facing them and how the Swiss people were facing them. It was based on a book.
Yeah.
So, you know, immediately, and it became a big hit. It was, you know, a co-production with Bulgaria and Switzerland. So, with the very first thing, I had a hit, and I've done what I was expecting to present a book into as a movie. Since then, I have done like 33 movies. Time flies, with a small intervention of my distribution experience out of Dubai, mainly for 8 years now, because Tanweer is a 360 company. We have post-production studios, we have cinemas, we have big distribution arms in Middle East, Turkey, India, East Europe, and Greece. So it was a big school and a big experience to go to the other side of distribution of the, you know, US trying to sell their movies outside, the cooperation with Fox. It was a very big experience. And then 3 years ago, we said, okay, but content is the king. So I think we need, instead of buying other people's rights, maybe we should create our own content. So we established Tanweer Productions in 2018, in the summer. I took over the company because I had the experience to continue what I was doing a little bit before. And I continued to the same path to do stories that I believe that the audience will embrace. I had a very big and good experience about, again, a movie from the Greeks that came to Istanbul, from Istanbul. And we started developing more and more things about, because that was a big hit. So we said, okay, people care about their histories, about their culture. So we started developing more projects for, inspired by the Greek history or by the Greek culture. With our first year, we did Epekeina, that you had here. You had Angelos, I think, last year. Yeah, and Francis. You know, we were lucky again. It was a very big hit that allowed us to create a small development fund, so we could finance more development. And so this year we produced as a movie again Zmirny, which is the destruction of Izmir back in 1922. And we've done it as a movie with 4-part series. And at the same time, we entered TV. The first lockdown proved very creative for us, because we had the chance to work with Nikos and Katerina in Τα καλύτερα μας χρόνια and
our best years, yeah.
Develop it properly. We had the time to work on the script. We found out that even Zoom you can fight safer from a distance. It was a very nice experience, and I think it was thanks to ERT that embraced a project in a way that we wanted to do TV. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been involved if it wasn't ERT in TV production. And then we said, okay, TV is nice as well. It's not. We started not being too snobbish about TV, coming from the cinema industry. And, you know, these guys and ERT and this project made us also love TV. And then we developed more and more projects. We did the 8-episode series for Cosmote TV.
Which one?
42 Degrees.
42 Degrees. What?
In
What's about?
Sorin Corfu. It's a family thriller. It's about who's done it. Which that platforms they like that, with decent budget, that you can do things. We are working on 3 films in Middle East, Arabic movies, because we like to do we have an eye into Middle East, and actually, personally, I'm impressed in the way that Arab filmmakers and TV producers are working in the Middle East. They have raised the standards of producing and the writing big time. And the next step is to do something in English, but for projects that had a significant impact internationally, but also maybe inspired from local stories in our region. Again, and I mean, our region is Southeast Europe and Middle East as well.
Middle East experience of distribution and production, does it influence? Does it bridge things? Does it? Do you have any collisions? I mean, between the two cultures, because distributing Indian or Turkish products, it's not the same thing as to shoot a film about Greek people in Istanbul, Constantinople, or otherwise, or Smyrna.
Yeah, I think we have, this Oriental culture is closer to us as well. But listen, I saw Romanian series, I mean TV series, like dramas, daily dramas.
Oh,
And they are close to our own daily series. So Romanian, Turkish, I saw a very nice Slovenian daily series that was really nice, and I could really get it. There are few differences, like let's say they were giving more attention and focus to a land with horses. That in areas like Slovenia, Slovakia, Croatia, Serbia, they are more into horses. We don't have that tradition, but the human relationships were more or less the same. The setup, the backside, the backplots were a little bit different. But for me, as far as it concerned the relationship between the drama, between the people, it was something that I could be identified myself or people that I see in Greece or even Middle East as well. So I think from Egypt, Saudi, Emirates, Turkey, Greece, and the rest of the Balkans and some East European countries, there are common stories that could be shared and could have, for me, an international impact. And it's a lot of work. The main burden is the language barrier. I mean, I know that they will dub it if you want to sell it, whatever, but the shooting language for us is an issue. It's a burden and it's a problem. Even when you translate a script, I read the script, the same script in Greek differently than
in English.
Not only in English, but in Bulgarian, in French. We translate and somebody is reading it, we understand different things. Sometimes it happens when we speak to each other, not in our mother language. So imagine if you have to read a script to understand the depth of a character and the tension and the ambience of a situation. These are not easy things. That's why I'm not very optimistic on that part. I believe more that we find a nice story in Bulgaria. Yeah, I can be a co-producer, and because I like the story, we can come and help you say your story. And then we can do the other thing. And then we can start selling stories from the region. Not to do the same as Europuttings did and it failed big time in Europe in like 20 years ago.
Are you the only person when you receive a script, an idea to read it? Are you with the team? We know that you have a very good Natalie Duca, a great key figure in your production house. But are you the very first reader?
No.
Do you decide alone? And how is going that? How is working that?
Well,
Your interior cuisine.
No. Listen, Natalie is our head of content.
Okay.
Natalie Duca is our head of content. So she is creating now her own team. We are taking in more and more people. We like the people to share the same excitement for our job as we do, otherwise it cannot work. And to be open to everything, like even in the street, you go to the street, you hear somebody over here a discussion, and okay, nice character, that would have been said by our main character in a series or in a movie. So we are enlarging the creative team under Natalie. We also have a production team that is overtaking more and more of that, but we are also outsourcing as line producers. We are hiring other people in other companies because it makes you, it gives you the flexibility to do more. And we're training more people to read. We have readers. Sometimes when we want something to go to the bigger scale, we are translating the scripts and stories, and we're sending them to international readers, so we get international script reports. Okay. We tend to pay people to write something for us, not just bring me something. This is what I think was a little bit of a game changer. I think we were among the first companies that we were inviting people to write something, but we were asking them how much you want us to write a synopsis and a script and the characters, so we know what this is all about. Because it's important for people, for me, it's important that people see it as a profession. It's a full-time job, so if we want to make them interfere in our business, they have to get their share in life. No, not to be obliged to do a lot of other things, and then at night do whatever they like and write something because just they like it. To work on timelines, etc.
So you act more and more as a studio.
We are receiving a lot of projects. Yeah. We have a green light process that is in my mind, in a way, because I'm not a lot into putting everything on specific boxes. I like the idea that creation is coming out of chaos. In a way, though, it's like, as I say, there is calculated risk, but there is calculated chaos. It's very, very easy to cross the limit and get lost in both. But it's nice because also it keeps you alert. Because if you are alert, you are keeping your survival instinct all the time. That in our job is very important. Otherwise, I think you may miss some creative elements. And I think a lot of people are contributing to our decisions. Sometimes they don't even know. We ask them for something that they don't even know why we're asking them, and they're giving us an answer. And according to that answer, then we have a meeting and we discuss again, or we revise. There's a lot of talking in this business and in this process. The good thing is that if we say, okay, we want to do it, we are finding a way to do it, and I mean financially. Definitely, we prefer cinema and miniseries because there is a way of a more cinematic approach, because I believe miniseries are part of the cinematic approach. And we also keep rights. Like now, for the movie that we've done, we have rights on a movie and on a 4-part miniseries that can be seen and sold everywhere, and it's something that we want to pursue and build upon that. And now we are starting 2 more operations, one alongside with production. One is, so we had development, production, post-production. Now we're doing a project that's called internship, because we saw that we need more skilled people because of all the services, because of the cash rebate. There's a lot of things happening. So we're going to implement an internship, but we need to work it properly, like with job descriptions, time frames, budgets, and assign each person to a head of a department as his responsibility.
Which kind of profile of agency?
It depends. That's why I'm saying we need ADs, that we don't have ADs, a lot of ADs. We need some script continuity.
Continue script.
It's not easy. Script continuity. Some camera assistants like focus pullers, etc., which is a bit difficult task now because of the different grip materials that are moving here and there. I think focus pullers, they're having a tough time. They need to learn and adjust how they can work. It's very important, and on, but very specific positions to teach them how they can work properly. Even the team in the wardrobe, they need to work on a specific method in order to be fast and to be well prepared in advance, not only from a call sheet the other day. And
producers, like you're double? You think about
no, producers.
something
No. Listen, we have very good producers. I have to say that we have very good producers in Greece. There's a young generation of producers that they're doing an amazing job. They are focused. They are very well skilled because of the European programs as well. I see more and more young Greek producers going to the festivals, getting prizes, doing mini-series. It's impressive. I have in my mind more than 5-6 producers that they're doing a great job. And they know where to find finance. They know the whole production workbook. They know it very well. I think what happened in '90s and then now again after the crisis, after the 2016, it's creating a whole bunch of people in 2 different generations that they're doing a lot of co-productions. Even you see, short films are now produced by a producer, not the director that was the main thing before, but now producers, and they go to Cannes, and some of them they take prizes, which is amazing thing, and I'm very confident. I was just very lucky to have the support in a company and be able to implement all these under the umbrella of a company. But producers we have, and sometimes we work with other producers. If a producer has a project and he comes to us and says, listen, I need support here and here, we are open. We are open into synergies with other producers, production companies, to co-produce things. We are open now. We have the ability now and the means to do it. And also one thing we're going to do is we're going to open up like we're going to call it Tanweer Pitching Days, that people can come and pitch projects, not only independent writers or a director, but even teams, like a producer with a script writer or with a director, that they come and they pitch a project because maybe they think that we can contribute somehow to discuss if it's something
good. So pitching days from Tanweer Production, okay? We keep that.
Yeah.
Everybody can pitch an idea?
Anybody who's feel comfortable in pitching an idea and believe that we can be of assistance. And,
so as an important company, audiovisual productions and distribution, things like that, you are going to confirm or not that you play an important role, that you could play an important role on shaping the policy of the audiovisual machine process in Greece.
Listen, I'm far away from considering myself anything, for a reason. In this job, it's easy to get a prize in Cannes and to get a big financial slap that will make you disappear from this earth. It's very easy. So we know we had good days, bad days, we had successes, we had failures, and you learn from anything. It's life, it's the course of life. You do something that you like and you have a good team and you keep working and working. I don't consider myself anything, honestly. I consider myself that I enjoy what I do, and I like working with people like Nikos and Katerina, for example, and we're having a good time. And that's what we're saying, how lucky we are to do this business, and we We have this life that we have. Trust me, I have friends that they are lawyers and they are suffering. And I know, I understand why. It's they don't even exercise the science that they dreamed when we were all together studying law. That we saw law as a way of, a point of view in life. Like justice is a philosophy. We were studying methodology, sociology of law, all that stuff. And then they go to this madness of Greek courts and bureaucracy, etc., and they're losing everything. Every bit of creativity or hope that was in their head, they're losing it. And they want to do other things, and they want to escape. As a lot of people, they want to escape from what they do. And we want to bring whatever we do in our houses, in our families, in our homes, which is like, okay, we've went too far the other way, but it's happening. Like, ask anybody here. When they go home, they keep thinking about their work. That's how it's going. You take it with you. Holidays, your computer and you're writing. Your phone call, you're resting by the beach, but you want to call somebody and discuss a project.
Or you watch Our Best Years, and they can just be relaxed watching.
I hope.
Our Best Years.
I hope that was the aim. And the people will watch it and have fun, and see also in a nostalgic way that, okay, our best years will always be the years of our childhood. That's it. That's not going to change in any generation. So everybody is seeing it. I think they get their message. That's what we tried actually to do that in the Spanish series and the Italian and the Argentinian series. That's why I think the success lies into that. Always you have to find the key in a pitching room. When you say, okay, what is the logo? What is it all about? You have to say something. And I think that's the key. If you cannot find it, this is a test of the project. If you cannot find in a phrase or a word, what's the message of this project? Why you want to do this project? Then there's something wrong. You haven't found the whole thing, so you have to go back and rethink what you're doing.
Can you mention now a project that you particularly loved to do, but you couldn't do that for other reasons, and another project that you would like really to do now? Movie and series.
Something that I wanted to do and I didn't do, no. I'm very stubborn. I can tell. If I put a target, I have to do it. I like challenges, like Zmirny was one of it. For 2 years I couldn't sleep properly.
Remind us, it's the last project.
Yeah, the last project of Izmir. Because it's for Greece to do a 5 million euro project that you have to build the port of Zmirny of 1922. It was a mountain with a lot of other issues in Greece, etc. But I don't know how we've done it. Honestly, I don't know how we've done it, but it happened. It happened. And it happened in a nice way with an amazing team. So after that, I said anything can be done. Anything can be done, honestly. It's a matter of time. Sometimes people lose faith. I'll give you the example of my previous movie in Istanbul that did the box office record, and it was sold in like 50 countries. It was called A Touch of Spice, Politiki Kuzina. The director had it abandoned because he was working on it 5 years. And he couldn't find a way to do it. And we were having a discussion in the Thessaloniki Film Festival, and he said, okay, let's do something. He sent me another project. It was called Havana Kebab. I will never forget that. Because thanks to Havana Kebab, we did the other one. It was like, okay, funny. Τέλεια. Havana Kebab. Maybe he remembers. I'm sure you will remember Havana Kebab. Never mind. It was a very nice project, etc. But another friend gave me a call. He's giving me a call. Zinos Panagiotis, a distributor, And he said, did you read it? I said, yes, but Havana kebab. I said, what Havana kebab are you talking about? What did he send you? I'm telling him Havana kebab. He said, honestly, he didn't send you Tasso's Spice, Poliki Cucina? So I called Tasso and said, Tasso, Zinos told me that you have another project that is very good. He said, yeah, but I'm fed up. Maybe nobody wants to do it. And we started working for another 2.5 years on the project. So I think it's about never lose faith. You know, if you want something or something, you know, some projects, they have a star. And they find the time, they find the people, or they find the way.
Here.
Eftihia. Oh, you're right. You're right. Eftihia. Eftihia is
The last film.
the last film.
hit
It's
the
Eftihia is a name.
list.
Is a name. Is a Greek name.
But it also means happiness.
But also, yeah, means
Yeah.
happiness. But it's a name, and it's the name of a lyrics writer of well-known songs that really nobody knew that she was behind these songs. And when we started, people were asking, "Really now? You're doing a movie about an old lady that's writing lyrics?" And they were laughing at us. Yeah, and if you say it like that, yes. But the songs that she wrote, they were part of the DNA of the Greek family in the 50s and 60s. And still, some of them definitely still is. So I think we, after 3 years, I don't remember, you know, time flies and now you say, no, it happened fast. It found its way. Initially we were going to be only distributors, then we took over, you know, there was a lot of stuff back and forth. But at the end, who remembers all these things? At the end of the day, it's the movie that the people, they go and see, and now they see in their TV sets and they say, oh, nice, I know, oh, she wrote this song. It's part of our culture. So I'm very happy that my son will see the movie and say, oh, these songs were written by this lady in this way, because it talks about creativity and passions, etc. So we're very happy to being able to do it. So, you know, anything you really believe and you have the patience and the faith and the right people. That's what I'm saying. Every project needs the right team for them to be done. Sometimes you have to take hard decisions. Because imagine, like if here, for example, it started by another producer that he was working on this for years. And you have to give him the credit that this guy worked on this for years, but it was a burden for his own project, in my view. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I thought. So we started to take it over, the whole project. And it did what it did. Maybe he had done it in a better way. Maybe, I don't know. We'll never know. But I think at least the thing moved. Sometimes you have to change the director or the scriptwriter. These are the hard decisions because of the human factor, that you have to respect everybody's job and willingness to do things, but very, very tough, very tough.
And I have a question. Yep.
Let's talk about intuition. How you find intuition in work? Yes.
Me?
Yes.
It's all about intuition. I don't take decisions with the mind or the heart. I take decisions with the chest.
That's intuition.
Right, wrong, I don't know, but that's how. If something's wrong here, even if the numbers work, even if my heart is with the project, if it's something's wrong, I say, there's something wrong. Anytime that I've heard the numbers and I followed, the numbers, it makes sense. We have the finance, we have the distribution, this and that. I got a very big slap because I didn't check the rest. So I said, okay, maybe it doesn't work for me. And you know, I consider myself more of a creative producer because, you know, executive producers, they are in an office and they see the numbers works. We take the decision, we do it because we're gonna make that profit. Okay. In a production company, maybe sometimes you can do it, but trust me, these are okay. Maybe you make a little profit out of something, but that's not going to be the project that will take you to the next level or to the future. It never happened for me. I don't know. And if you see the history, even Hollywood, the big successes came out of creative conflicts. They changed the company, they changed that, or they couldn't do it for years. We're not discovering the wheel. In the history of producing, these are the stories that are happening. And if you ask here anybody, they will have a similar story to tell you, but that's the magic.
So you spoke about intuition, but before you said in the beginning that the most difficult thing is to have a good film with a good budget and with a good public.
Ariel, plus près le micro.
A good film, good budget, good public. This adequation of film and budget. And after you say calculated risk and calculated chaos. Okay. So your answer you just gave to Peters, does it mean that sometimes it's not uncalculated risk, it's not uncalculated chaos, but it can be? Now, calculated risk and calculated chaos. Well, it's not calculated risk, it's not calculated chaos, but it can be uncalculated risk with intuition. It is worth taking the risk.
Of course, this is the fight between left and right in the brain. It happens to everybody if they now understand how the human brain works. It fights always, but if I have the intuition that something can work, then I use my right part and say, okay, but I go to calculated risk, and the calculated chaos has to do with how we are arranged in decision making and how we're using talent. Risk is a factor that because it is my intuition on that, I need to safeguard the project as much as I can. So to find ways in my financing plan, or the way that I'm setting the whole thing up, that it can be end as calculated. Intuition is if I do it or not. If I do it because of my intuition, I have to find ways. That's why sometimes you delay a little bit more, because let's say some finance is not enough, and you need to wait a little bit more to be more secured. That is it's a process after that.
So, Denis, you began with Balkanisateur, something, a tough story about Balkans, story about story. Greece is a part of Balkans, is a Balkan story also, is part of European, South European. How, if today, because just 1 hour before we were talking a lot about Balkans, about the difficulties, the possibilities to do something regional, something Balkan story, and you told us that you have Balkan story also similar to in Dubai or India or Arab countries. If today you had to make is there a place to make today a new Balkanisateur, and what would be that? A series, a movie, what? Years and years after your first Balkanisateur.
You mean in the Balkans?
Yeah. A real Balkanisateur story, but today. Oh no.
Oh, there are plenty, I think. From where to start? Name a country and I will tell you a story. Everywhere. If you explore, let's say now that I go with people. I know someone from North Macedonia. So now I know that if a story comes to cross my mind, my path about it, I say, let me call and what do you think about that story? That's how it starts. That's how I start. I always come, or sometimes it happens. I ask the writers, what do you think of that? Sometimes we work on something. If, let's say, I saw a Bulgarian movie about Bagamon and said, oh yeah, I would have done that as well as a co-producer. That would be fine. It's something that it's a common story. I know that I'm very fond of the people that are from the Balkans, especially from Albania. They worked hard in Greece for years, and now I know that some of them they're building resorts in Agisaranda or in other areas, and how that's stories, success stories that say, okay, see, they cross the borders illegally, and now they manage to do something in their own countries. That fascinates me, and I think it's a global story. Or I know that there are good studios in Serbia that I could build a historical place or something to do about 1915 wars in the borders with Bulgaria, Montenegro. Amazing stories of that period of time. It's difficult because of the budgets and because of the political tonality that you have to do, because for a reason I think the Balkans are suffering a lot more from political tonalities and points of view than anybody else in the world almost. I don't know if it's even worse than what China and Japan are facing themselves, but I think we're suffering because of the politicians in the region. And I don't know, it's difficult to accept. The acceptance of things is because you know what happened in the course of the time. All the sides were narrating history the way they wanted to. So honestly, do we know what is true, what is false, how it happened? No. There are ways, if you research, if you do it, but we're not doing a documentary. We want to do human stories. Yeah. So I don't mind a human story that maybe it has a little bit of a different point of view. Okay. As long as we are not like saying it in a nationalistic way or so to prove something, we are not doing art in order to serve a point of view. We're doing art to discover the depth of a character and how he's living, how he's suffering. Because this is the key in the ancient Greek tragedy.
So that theoretically, if we believe you could remake another political cuisine. I mean, another cuisine of Istanbul, another Macedonian salad. No?
Whatever it is. Good, nice comedy actually, Macedonian salad.
Yeah. Well,
everywhere if you're going, they say I see in the catalog Macedonian salad for many years, and I was always thinking the French a lot. And I said, nice title. Actually, nice title for a comedy. So of course, listen. If you say you're open, you have to prove you're open, and you have open eyes and ears, like on anything. As long as it's good, it's well written, and it has potential to travel. Because to do the common story just to say it between ourselves, okay, but that's not the purpose. For the common story especially, it's something that we want to travel and say, listen guys, we found this common story between something that you would consider that, not really. With Turkish people, we are finding a lot of common stories. With the Middle East people, a lot of common stories. All the region has something. Of course, there will be conflicts inside that somebody can have a different point of view. Yeah, but this is art. It's about conflicts. That's how creations.
So you could.
We can disagree, so we can make something out of.
So you could adapt. You could take the risk to adapt, to produce series or movie based on the legend of Constandis. The Balkan legend of Constandis, of which we talked 2 days ago. Had a masterclass about Ismail Kadar's book.
Yes, I know. I know this book many years, and Tonia Marketaki. I don't know if you remember. She wanted to do. Yeah, that's. And Costa Gavras afterwards, but and I've heard of this story so many times, but never happened because of politics, I think. Because he said, okay, who's going to support it first? That's the issue.
From the Greek point of view,
Yeah.
But Europe can support that. Arte can support that. Another channel, TV, could take the risk to make something, no geostrategic conflict. So,
Yes, yeah, you're right on that. But
But if something want to work for us, we need support.
Yeah.
This is the biggest difference. It needs to be ours.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
We need a starting point from that.
Yeah.
Because every time I was going somewhere with a project, everybody was expecting, yeah, but what do you have from Greece? What do you bring from your country? Or even, you know, I see it, somebody's coming to us to pitch an idea from another country, and we ask, okay, is your country supporting that project first so we can come on board, even all the treaties? Even for Greece, the Greek Film Center has a new project for CoProductions. They are financing now CoProductions up to 100,000 euros. But in order to be able to apply, the other part has to have
something so
50% secured from his own country. Even for art, I know that I need a French or a German co-producer to go and apply together and do it. So either we'll bring money from distribution, from private funds, etc., or I need to have something, some support from my own country. Anyway, because of these constructions, we're not have yet this universality. Only the Americans, they have it, and the Chinese have it now. They can start and do whatever they want. They have funds to do it.
Yeah. Well, let's mention, last year we screened something co-produced by the national broadcaster. It was The Master of the Balkans, based on a Turkish book, very well known, selected among 150 books adaptation to be adapted by Arte 12 years ago. So it was difficult years at that moment. It was the last moment of the collapse of the Turkish Empire. Very good subject topic to be treated. It was completely shot and produced outside Greece, shot in Bulgaria, good to do that, North Macedonia, in the studios, with a cast. So the idea, the adaptation was completely French. It was Arte who decided and who put the whole money initial to launch. And Greece and Ed co-produced minor share production.
Oh, you mean Master of the Balkans, the co-production between ERT and the other territories, okay.
Yeah. So it was a first example of a Western glance vision of the Balkans. The book was Turkish, so we cannot say that the French, they invented the story. They just adapted. They adapted, well, the way they adapted, maybe today old-fashioned, but it was the unique example we know now of a co-production, but the basic interested countries followed, didn't initiate that. But Arte and Ed were very proud of that for different presses. And still, this Master of Balkans still is on the platform of Arte. Even if it was shot 14 years ago. That's amazing. That means that we have some margins to do that.
Of course, there are. And there are books and there are projects. Listen, I remember this case. I had met with the producer, the Greek-French producer that initiated the whole thing and how this whole thing set it up. It created problems, the way it was set up, you know. You remember? In both countries.
And there were
Maria.
some missing parts of the translation.
Yeah, in the beginning.
When broadcasted in Greece.
Yeah,
Some
they
lines
completely
were
changed.
not said.
The voiceover was completely different from the voiceover of the French original version actually broadcasted on the platform.
Yeah, some points were.
Yes.
It's the political tonalities that I was mentioning before. They apply everywhere.
If you have good story, if you have good stars, good actors,
Yep.
it's very easy then you can do. Problem is we don't know even one Greek star in our country, not even one Albanian star is in our star, not even one even Serbia in our country, not even one Bulgarian. If we know each other, let's do it like a Hollywood is doing. If you have star, then you can sell the project all around. That's another big problem that we have all around the country.
The stars can sell better a project
And
than
we need
us.
to create the stars.
We have a lot in Greece?
Yes, we know in Greece, we know in North Macedonia, we know we have in Bulgaria, in Serbia, but now we have problem. We are so close only in our yard. That's a big problem.
But how are you going to learn about them? Like in Zmirny, we had a Turkish actor now, Burak Haki. He's very well known in Turkey. You know Burak, you see? You know Burak. You know what happened? He was playing in a very well-known Turkish series, and the series was a big hit in Middle East, a big hit in India. So he was telling me that when I reached India, I was like impressed of how many people knew me. It's because what they are doing is traveling. You know, you cannot put the horse in front of the car. You have to create strong things that can travel. And when you see it, then you say, oh, you see this Greek actor? He was very good. And then that's how it's going on and on. Or if you send me a series and I see one of your actors and I say, oh, this guy is performing amazing. It happens with Turkish series. It happens with Indian series in a lot of territories. It happens also, like, you think that we see a lot French or Spanish or Italian. No, but they have a mechanism that are making their content to travel. And we don't, in the region, we don't realize how important it is for our content to travel. I know I have cases that they asked me, can you sell that? I said, yeah, how much you think? In the Middle East, for example, and we said, yeah, no, they for this kind of unknown, they pay like 500 euros per dollars per episode. And say, no, come on. What? No. You don't understand that. That's how the Turkish started. When they started coming, the first in Greece, they came almost for free. Almost for free. And I attended a meeting that a big Turkish distributor was ready to give free to a channel creation of whole slot, because the government were helping them to do that, because they realized that they want to. It's important. For every sale that Turkish series was doing, the Turkish government were paying them all the expenses that they've done in order to effect this sale. This is support. This is how you make your content travel internationally. There was a strategy, a support scheme, and they've done it. We can do it.
Yeah.
But who wants that?
Me and you. It's good for beginning, okay?
I agree. We're trying to do it. We are trying now to create a catalog in our distribution that's going to call Greek Screen, and we are targeting some series and movies from Greece in order to create a catalog and go and sell it to platforms, to the markets, etc. Just to try and see. That's how you do things, and then you test and you see. But me and you, this is what we can do. But governments, they can do much more. Public channels, they can do much more.
Yeah.
Because it's different to go me and you with the resources and everything that we have, and it's different like a bulk of, under the auspices and support of a government and the finance or a big public broadcaster to say, guys, you have these, I will pay for the expenses in Cannes, for creating an electronic catalog, even a platform that you can upload and present your content. Simple things now, as we speak, that in other territories it's the obvious thing. We wouldn't even discuss these things. Obvious. But, we are after the obvious things here. I'm not saying that we're not going to do them, of course. But I would say that things would have been easier and faster. We would have saved time.
Any questions? Katerina? No? Nico?
I threatened them. No questions.
Magis Bekas? Our friend Ben Napoloni from Kosovo, small country, who they see what exactly to avoid, not bureaucracy, which bureaucracy to avoid.
I just came from Tirana Film Festival, and I was in the jury of Balkan competition, and I saw all of the Balkan movies were drama. And I want to ask you as a producer, does Balkan loves comedy or just drama?
Listen, it's not about only about Balkans. Like drama travels, comedy rarely, only if it is a situation comedy, because of the language, because of the local jokes.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Situation comedy, a road movie, for example, like the movie that I've done, which was a comedy actually. Yeah, of course, it can travel because everybody can identify the situation. Never mind what they're exactly saying, but it's the situation that our heroes are going through, which is fine. And in Balkans, we like this kind of stories and the body movies, etc. So it's about choosing the right story and the right genre for that. Dramas, though, can be easily financed, which again another institutional issue. If you go with a comedy to all the national funds, I doubt that you will be funded. And that's a bigger problem. I really doubt that the guys that are the decision makers in all these institutions, they have a sense of humor, honestly, which is a very bad thing. I saw people that they are deciding about millions in US, in France, in Germany, and they have a sense of humor. You sit down and talk like proper people and have fun, and you go for dinner and you're having fun, and you tell stories and jokes and everything. And they don't have the complex of being a drama or a festival appeal or that in order to get finance. So I'm for comedies. So if you have a good story, a situation comedy, I love comedies. Nothing. Toda cosa.
Thank you.
Who is the first person that you ask for if you have a project? Who is the first person that you want you take his or her advice?
Do different things, advice or ask. Because ask is the first person that I see in front of me when I think of an idea. No, whoever it is, you, Petsa, or whoever. I think of something, but in the company,
seriously.
In the company, in the process.
Maybe it's your wife. I don't know whom you take more seriously for the first time.
Definitely my team. Definitely Natalie first, and then we brainstorm with the whole team. Definitely. Listen, you have to. If you have a team, you have to trust, and you have to give them the credit, and you have to be. You know, they whatever we are, there are people that are making us being that.
And if your team likes something and you don't, what do you do?
Yeah, no, I know. But he's right. It's happening. It's happening. I listen.
Να σημειωθεί αυτό.
No, he does. I know that he does.
I tried to cheat. No, listen. I'm not stubborn. Maybe I'm wrong. I always question myself, so it's a normal process. But I put questions to them as well, because if I to say no without an argument is the worst thing that can happen to anyone. I don't like these people. They say no. Yeah, no, why? Like when you send an application and they send you your application was rejected. And you say, yeah, okay, fine, I accept, but can you tell me why? Can you explain to me why? So I'll become a better person or I'll bring a better project. So we talk, honestly we talk. Sometimes I convince them, sometimes they convince me. We exchange views. This is the part of the process. But we like that. Ancient Greece, they were doing that a lot. It's the talking, the rhetorics. The rhetorics are notorious. Like some were sophistic, so you need to be careful and understand and find where the trick is. But I think we've learned from the ancient Greeks. We're using their techniques. We walk, as a lot of people. They say, okay, let's go for a walk, or let's sleep over that. and we'll talk about it again. But so we don't say easily yes, we don't say easily no. We are suffering a little bit before we take a decision. Sometimes you take a decision based on some facts and you say no, for example, then, or we say this, put it aside. Maybe it's not the time to do this. And then after a year or something, you say, remember that project? The brief that we just got from a channel or somebody, that's it. Now, if we change it like this or that, that's the perfect fit. So you don't know how the project it's gonna end, but this dialogue, the dialectic philosophy in Greece is, I think, for me the most valuable tool in our job.
So, Nico.
Can me and Katerina pitch at the Tanweer pitching day?
It's unfair. It's unfair. It's your
They're going to be on the committee of listening and evaluating. That's why they said that. But they can pitch
themselves.
anytime. We go to it and we talk about projects. So you can pitch anytime. You have that privilege anyway. So now you have to give something to other people, newcomers that are coming, and you have to evaluate their project so we can talk about somebody else's projects as well.
With around the table.
Yeah, with the round table. So, Mageli Bekas.
I want to say another thing. You mentioned your first movie, your first comedy road movie. You said it was successful because they traveled during the Balkans, during the different states. What do you think if it's one platform that Petra mentioned, I think, to create when we can show all the Balkan movies and something like Balkan flicks, or I don't know how to call it, but it's we are very similar. We can understand each other better than can understand our jokes, our way of life in Europe or in America. So.
I think it's a great idea, and a platform that you can find the content of the region is a great idea. I'm not sure about the success of the idea.
Why?
You know why? Because of ourselves. Because we tend to consider the content of our region of something less than the big US series, which I know it's not fair, but you have to understand that is a fact, which means that you have to first change how the local people in the industry, they understand and they value and appreciate the content of the region. There's a lot of marketing. I think we discredited ourselves, our own content in each country. If you go out and see, years ago, Greek movies to people outside, they would say, oh, come on, I don't see Greek movies, it's this or that. And people were talking, even in our industry, they were bad mouthing about our own content. There's a lot of criticism, low level, not good productions. We have to change that and prove to the people first that listen, we can compete, we can do, and then definitely this will come as the final end of this project. Now watch it on that Flix, etc. It's funny actually with these indexes. We went. That's a good actually research from the years of net. Everything was net. Now everything is Flix. Tomorrow I don't know what's going to be.
But there is another truth that's when you compare Netflix and all this HBO, now even more, even small, everybody looking for the local content. that's another possibility for us, because now, what I mentioned, our business profile is okay. We are not looking to have the 50%, 30%. For us is only 7 to 8% of whole the population who use Netflix. For us is quite enough to finish our business model. It's okay then, and we know it's according our project, the local population, they're looking for the local context. And that's happened in Serbia, that's happened, it's so obvious, they produce about 25, 30 TV series per year. Now, if that's the same happen in our country, North Macedonia, and people like to watch the local content. But first, okay, they were a little bit suspicious. Okay, it's it's start to grow, and now they're asking for more, and that's it. Because now we need to, like a producer, we need to anticipate.
May I ask something? Maybe it's a question, a journalistic question. You spoke to us about Zmirny, and it's a huge production, which cost 5 million euros, and we are still, I think, in COVID era. Could you talk us a little about your distribution plan of the film?
First of all, we want to see how cinemas will perform in the coming month in order to take a final decision. But so far we have set a date for release. So yeah, there are two factors now. We used to have one, which is if the film is going to be ready with the VFX and everything else. Now we have a second one, that is the pandemic and how the whole market will behave. So we're working on plan A is to release during Christmas holidays or early 22, which is actually the 100 years. Or we move it towards later in 22. We need to evaluate and see how much we can move it, because in 22 is the 100 years. September 14th is actually the actual date of the 100 years from the destruction of Smyrna. Maybe we don't want to wait that long to do it. And then we're gonna have a press release in English for the English press, together with a small teaser trailer and photos, just to make it known outside Greece that we've done the movie, because we have actors like Rupert Graves, Susan Hampshire. So there is an element there that can be a marketing hook for other territories. We also have the Armenian element very strong in the movie, that I think can play a role in the distribution of the project. And then we'll see how the first response will be. And then we have two plans. Either plan A, if we can have the movie to have an international appeal and travel in different territories, or we'll go to plan B, which is to approach platforms and broadcasters mainly for the series of the 4 episodes. So that's more or less. We have to go, day by day actually, to see where things are happening. So end of this month we'll know more. But we're working on plan B anyway. This has changed the way that we're working. It's very unfortunate what's happening with not only for our films. There are films now. We are releasing a movie about Kalavrita, the fire in Kalavrita in November, that was shot like 2 years ago, and due to this problem they are waiting. Produced by FOS. By FOS. Okay. So it happened. These are factors in our job that is making it even more difficult.
Well, just a little question. You said you spoke about the importance to share the same message about all the team, but in the same way, after you said that you are not here, your film is not here to defend point of views. You mean political point of view, something like that.
In the Balkans.
In the Balkans, yeah. But would you accept, for example, the idea? I don't know if you know this movement in science fiction, say climate fiction. Climate fiction is really just has a real political purpose, but you have great novelists with great stories like Kim Stanley Robinson or Paolo Basida Galuppi, who made fantastic novels. But it's political. There's a real message when you make climate fiction. And I could, for example, imagine a climate fiction in the Balkans, in Greece, from now to 20 years, for example, with a lot of problems, a lot of tragedies. It's real science fiction, but it has a political meaning.
I wasn't mentioning that. Like Zmirny is very political. It talks about what happened to Greeks and the fight between the prime minister and the king, and what was the result of that fight, and between Greece and Turkey, what happened, and what was the role of Kemal, from also the point of view of the Turkish people as well. So yeah, I wasn't referring to politics in general as a genre. Definitely, we will do tomorrow morning something about the climate change or whatever in the region, something like Chernobyl series. Definitely on the spot. I would love to do something like that. When I said political tonalities is about the past histories and the conflicts between in the borders of the regions and how the politicians are perceiving some historical events.
When we talk about the history, I think very soon it will come time when we need to tell the history with the common point. I think we who is doing the film and TV. Okay, that's. I hope. I don't know. Maybe I'm so optimistic, but it's hope. It will be soon. It came to maybe we will be maybe the first one who can very easy tell this story, because we're using the element of popular culture, element of the science fiction, etc., etc. It's question of imagination, how we'll do it. Actually, what we planned this with Bulgarian actor, we plan to doing the TV series about the first partisan movement in between Serbia, Bulgaria, and North Macedonia. And it's quite some kind of mix between the fiction and reality. And it will be so very funny. If you read the book of Alec Popov, yes.
Yes, well, to say some facts, there was an effort, there was something 8-9 years ago, a manual of history written in common by 3 or 4 countries of the Balkans, about 12 or 15 historians. It was really well done. It was a command of the Ministry of Education. It was the New Democracy there. I mean, it was not a left or leftist government. It was really, they had the courage to do that, but it was really the turmoil. It was the typhoon. It was the accident of the year. It was something really, really, I mean, a real thriller, a real series. I don't judge good or not. The thing is that the public opinions in all these countries, especially in Greece, and I don't speak about the Macedonian conflict, they were not ready to hear, to listen about the nothing about that. So the book was retired from the schools. Okay, it was the real crisis of the government. I remember that. It was I don't know the name. So it was a real thriller, and it's a trauma. It's a trauma, and the fact to see a common history, for instance, about film, about Zmirny, it's something possible and impossible.
Yeah.
So you have to consider that. And even pop culture, we don't know if it's something approachable. It's recent. It's everywhere you go in Greece or in Turkey. So it's, or in Cyprus, it's very difficult. It's not impossible, it's difficult for people living there, but it's time to do something.
And we need to be, I miss the word, okay.
So thank you, Dionysis Samiotis, for this very, very, very good. At 7:30, 7:45, we are going to begin the screening of the first episode of the 7 TV series.
7:45.
Yeah, well, one. It's going to be black, really blackout thing.
A great hour.
Yeah. The Bad Blood is a really very good story, very good series. And after that, the other one, not based on a book, just young, inspired content, very good. About 1 hour and a half, both episodes. Okay, both episodes. And after that, we are going to receive you for the finale, for the and announce some results of our award of the music TV series contest concerning a French movie serial that we decided to have an open call for composers to compose the music. It's a French movie serial, The House of the Mystery, of Alexander Volkov, of the 1923, and we awarded someone, and now we are going to announce officially the award. It's money award, okay, 500 euros. It's a premiere for our festival. We hope we are going to continue like that because we want to support new talents and 2 special honor masons for 2 other people who participated. So all that stuff at 7:45 or 8 o'clock, between that, to see just 1 hour and a half of 2 episodes, really good. 7, subtitled in English. And after that, we are glad to receive you and have a reception. Okay? Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.